your trivia.
Oh, was that Bobby Vinton?
Yeah, how did you know that?
Blue velvet. Who'd you think it was?
Well, I knew it was Bobby Vinton, but I was
my friend
seeing
always
if you knew.
listens to it, and it's another person.
Molly was singing it this morning, and I said, "How did you know that song?" She goes, "Lana Del Rey does it." I said, "Well, it's a Bobby Vinton song." She goes, "No, it's not. It's a Lana Del Rey."
It's one of those where they redo it like 50, 60 years later, and you think it's original.
So who's our guest this morning?
Dr. Kevin Stone.
Dr. Kevin.
Get in here.
Dr. Kevin.
Yeah, he's an orthopedic surgeon.
Oh,
and
cool.
Done the Olympics, ski team, and all that fun stuff. So I just called
Talk about the specialty of sports medicine. I like this.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I haven't had a doctor on for a while.
That's true. Whoa.
I don't think we've ever had a doctor on, have we?
What's that?
I don't think we've ever had a doctor on, have we?
We had one guy who did more on like the drug scene.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He was an odd duck.
He was kind of a strange character.
He was a very strange character.
Was this guy a friend of yours?
A friend of mine. Hi, it's Edward Brown again. My co-host just showed up. Oh, okay, go ahead. 3047. Okay, can you tell him we're just going to do a quick 2-minute segment and we'll call him right back? Thank you.
Dr. Stone. I had my doctor was Dr. Stone for years.
All right, Dr. Kevin Stone. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our 2 minutes. This time's really swamped. So.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Little timer here. Okay, and away. Go. Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Bruce McGowan, longtime sports radio personality. Today's show is going to be interesting. We're going to have Dr. Kevin Stone, MD. He's an orthopedic surgeon. He'll be on in the next segment. He served as physician for the U.S. ski team and U.S. Olympic Training Center, along with a lot of other credentials, which would take about the whole hour to go through. So we're going to let him tell us about the various things in sports medicine. Let's see. Our email is edward@sportsecon101. You're going to use that because we're going to ask a sports trivia question at each commercial break. And again, we're still in baseball season.
Baseball.
So we're going to have baseball questions. Let's see. Also want to talk about Colin Kaepernick. Is he going to land somewhere?
I think he's being blackballed. I really do.
Just for sitting out. I mean, a lot of guys are doing that now.
Guys get a second chance if they beat their wives, if they do drugs. But if you don't stand for the national anthem, I guess that's sacrosanct.
Yeah, but some of the guys are. He's not the only one now.
Oh no, there's a number of guys. Yeah, he's just the first.
Yeah, everyone is saying, well, he doesn't quite have the tools anymore.
I don't know about that.
All right. Let's see. We'll also talk about Ezekiel Elliott because his accuser was apparently texting a friend about blackmailing him. Did you hear about that?
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, I hate to say it. Some of these athletes, they hang out with people that are just not very reputable.
Wrong crowd. Okay. This segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, providing mortgage investments that are currently yielding 7.5%. In fact, their last distribution was at 8.4%.
I like it.
Secured by real estate at less than 60% loan to value. You can't find too many conservative investments that are that well secured and paying that higher rate of return. So check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com, and don't touch that dial. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. When we come back, we're going to have Dr. Kevin Stone, MD, orthopedic surgeon on. Don't touch that dial. All right. Let's see.
I like doing this show early in the morning. It's good.
Yeah, works for me too. Hi, Dr. Stone. Hi, it's Edward Brown and my co-host Bruce McGowan. Good morning. I'm just going to save a quick file and then we'll get right started, okay? All right.
Where are you located, Doc? All right. What part? Nice.
But now, I met Jim Leach in Martha's Vineyard, so I guess you guys, would you grow up together or your neighbors?
I'm not sure which Jim Leach you met. There are quite a few.
He's the one in Rhode Island.
He lives in Rhode Island?
Yeah.
There is a Jim Leach in Rhode Island that is a neighbor.
Yeah, okay. But a funny guy, very, very nice guy.
Hey, never mind. For some reason, I thought my phone mic was off there.
Yeah, you're all set. Okay. All right.
How about those Giants, huh, Doc? How about those A's? What a great
Yeah.
baseball season this has been, huh?
Yeah, hey, and Phillies are coming into town,
Oh,
huh?
boy,
All
that'll
right.
be fun to watch.
I think there'll be about 7 people watching. Okay. Dr. Stone, when we come in, I'm just going to give a quick introduction to you, and then we thought we'd talk about sports medicine, okay? All right. All right, here we go. And are you, you're close to your phone right there? Okay. I want to make sure I get you on there. Okay, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Now, on the phone, we have Dr. Kevin Stone, MD, who is an orthopedic surgeon, and amongst a lot of his credentials, that he served as physician for the U.S. Ski Team and U.S. Olympic Training Center. Dr. Stone, welcome to Sports Econ 101.
Morning.
So I want to ask you, what different kinds of injuries do you see in the different sports? Because you don't just handle skiing.
Well, I see a wide range of both professional athletes and weekend warriors. I cared for the ballet company, doing ballet here in San Francisco for more than a decade, and other smaller companies. So I see a wide range of athletes and people with arthritis.
And I know you worked with the U.S. national ski team. I would think a lot of the problems that they have, injuries they have, involve obviously the leg and specifically maybe the knee. Because I remember I tore my ligaments skiing. Is that a common injury for pro skiers and amateur skiers?
Unfortunately, if you're a ski racer in your career from being a junior up to the World Cup, you have an extraordinarily high chance of at least 3 near career-ending knee injuries during your career.
Wow.
It's a devastating sport at ski racing at a high level to the knee.
Have you ever worked with Lindsey Vonn, or do you know about her situation? Because she's had a number of injuries, and she keeps coming back. It amazes me. She's like the bionic woman.
So, of course, she was on the team when I was a doc, and she was the Kildo at the time. But she, like other great athletes, used their injuries as an excuse to come back fitter, faster, and stronger, as we like to say here, than they were before. So my patients who do extremely well are patients who believe us when we say to them, look, we want you to see yourself as an athlete in training, not a patient rehab.
Oh, that's a
I
great
like that.
great mindset.
Yeah.
You can do that. If you can take your injury as an excuse to look at yourself and say, okay, why did I get injured? What parts of me have I not focused on for a while because I was focusing on other parts? Use your relative downtime, which we call relative rest. We can talk about that a little bit more. Use that time to work on the other parts of your fitness and your strength and your speed, agility, and come back a better athlete than you were before you got hurt. And even in a sport like ski racing, where Lindsay's demonstrated a number of times, if you focus and train properly, you can come back as even better than before.
I would think that having specific injuries, that you'd be really gun shy. I mean, I remember again, like you say, the weekend warrior. I was playing basketball back in '94, and I stepped on some guy. The guy must have had a really big foot because I completely turned over the ankle, and I
Ouch.
would have been better breaking it, but I didn't. I tore like lots of ligaments, tendons, and cartilage, and I mean, I was out for so long that when I was able, it took me a year to get back on the court.
Wow.
It's like I didn't want anyone around me within 10 feet.
Yeah, those kind of injuries, I guess, Doc, are kind of it's almost better, isn't it, to have a broken bone rather than torn ligaments and torn tendons, just because it takes, maybe it's a little more traumatic for the body to recover from those injuries, or am I wrong?
So that used to be true. And what's changed now is that we're now in what I like to call the anabolic era of orthopedics. And what that means is in the past, just as you said, you'd have a soft tissue injury, it would take the collagen of your body to heal that tissue almost a year to mature. And that's, of course, a long time in any athlete's life. So what we've focused on over the last 5 to 10 years in our research part of our practice here in San Francisco, and others have focused on around the world, how do we speed up this healing? How do we help people recover faster? What can we do? So what's happened is that we've all focused on growth factors and stem cells, because those are the things the body uses to heal injuries.
And you got to be careful about not using, steroids or things that are not permitted, right?
Exactly. So in the old days, when you have an injury, especially a knee knee injury, the surgeon would go in and take out the meniscus, or if you had inflammation, they would inject steroids. Those would shut down healing. You go back out to play and essentially damage your knee further and develop arthritis. So the new era is you tear your meniscus, we repair, regenerate, or replace it. And if you have a soft tissue injury, we inject stem cells and growth factors to stimulate healing, not steroids anymore.
I would think, if you're a doctor, you're probably watching an orthopedic surgeon such as yourself. You're probably watching a football game and thinking, "Geez, this is like watching war." I mean, how many guys out there? They're going to inevitably, if a guy plays 20 years of high school, college, and pro football, inevitably he's going to tear up his knee or his ankle or do something to his back. I mean, the power and the hitting that go on in that sport is just so destructive. Does that kind of bother you as much as you might be a football fan to see those kind of injuries, and they seem to be getting worse, maybe because the players are faster and bigger and they're hitting each other with more force?
And not only that, our youths are playing that single sport year-round now.
Yeah.
So if they're a football player, kids are playing all year round, and they're playing single sports rather than all the multi-sports we played as kids growing up.
Yeah.
They're having that same repetitive use or, unfortunately, repetitive injury to the same body parts.
Like Tommy John surgery. I was just thinking too that certain things like ankles, if I understand it correctly, not being a doctor, you are, they don't heal quite as well. Usually, I've heard just because the blood doesn't flow as much in that part of the body.
It's interesting. Different parts of the ankle. So the ankle cartilage inside the joint, the ankle joint, actually very rarely becomes arthritic, as opposed to the knee joint when you have an injury and often will become arthritic. The cartilage of the ankle joint is fairly unique. Look, you have your entire body walking on that tiny little joint compared to your knee or your hip. The soft tissues around the ankle, though, are much smaller. So when you have a soft tissue injury and you have your whole body weight twisting and turning on that ligament that's trying desperately to reattach itself, much tougher mechanical problem.
Interesting. And I guess the other thing is, as we all get older, our discs kind of lose a little bit.
Elasticity, as they say, yeah.
Um,
I'm feeling that right now. As a matter of fact, last night I was working at one of the local radio stations where I work, and I was sitting in a chair that was very uncomfortable, and I should have known better. There were other chairs around, but I just got too lazy. And this morning I woke up and it was like, I had to stretch it out. I guess, that's part of getting old, isn't it?
Yeah, but your sitting position is a big factor. So look at how you're sitting right now.
Oh, yeah. I'm slouching. If you're watching the webcast here, I've got to stand up straight.
I'm watching you right through the phone. So roll this forward, get your shoulders behind your hips, sit up straight.
But if I do that, I'm way off mic.
That feels good, though.
Yeah, it does.
The old pelvic tilt, right?
There you go. Hey, I'm curious. Dr. Frank Joby, who I think most people who are associated with sports or follow sports know, pioneered this arm replacement, or the not arm replacement, but the elbow replacement surgery. I mean, are there people like Dr. Job out there that are doing that kind of thing on a regular basis, that are sort of experimenting, or is that something that's just very unique that he kind of stumbled upon?
Well, first of all, the Giants wish he pioneered arm replacement surgery.
That's true. Oh, man. I mean, not a couple of years ago we would have said, what? But now, yeah,
well,
you're right.
I like that. Doctor with a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Number two, yes, there are places like our clinic here in San Francisco where we have a public nonprofit research foundation attached to it, and we're very driven on developing new regenerative techniques for regrowing tissues and replacing tissues. So we did that, and we designed a collagen meniscus implant to regrow the meniscus in the knee. And we designed an articular cartilage repair technique to solve the problems where microfracture doesn't work. So yes, there are a number of us who are very driven on if we can regrow and repair these tissues.
All right, hey, Dr. Stone, stay with us. We're going to cut to a quick commercial break here. Here's our first baseball trivia question. And Dr. Stone, if you know the answer, don't answer it yet. We'll let you answer when you come back, all right? Okay, here we go. Here's the question. I was much overshadowed in the pitching rotation by Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale. In 9 seasons with the Dodgers, I won 149 games. The number 23 on my back unfortunately witnessed my leading the league in losses in 1968 with 18. Who am I? That's our trivia question, all right? And if you know the answer, email edward@sportsecon101.com. And when we come back, we're going to continue on with Dr. Kevin Stone, who is an orthopedic surgeon. Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101. I'll be right back. All right, that's our first little segment. If you can stay with us one more, that'd be great. Yeah, this is good. Good stuff.
Where are you from originally, Doc?
Originally from Providence, Rhode Island.
That's
Oh my
where.
God,
That's
what
where
brought you out here? What brought you out here? Just the opportunity, the practice, or friends, or?
To do a fellowship with Dick Stedman, who was in Lake Tahoe at the time.
Oh, yeah,
Was
yeah.
funded in research here at Letterman Army Institute of Research in San Francisco and developed the first collagen scaffolds for regrowing the meniscus.
What is Dr. Stedman doing these days? I hear his name mentioned all the time. Is he still around?
Long retired.
So he's enjoying the good life. Yeah. Now, he was quite prominent in sports medicine for a long time. I know. I'd always see his name mentioned in stories.
I noticed your birthday is very close to my brother. He was July 6, 1955. Yeah. Couple of
I suppose of a different mother, though.
yeah, exactly. Let's see. What? Oh, I know. I did want to talk about this orthopedist that was fired from New Orleans Saints for misdiagnosing a fracture. So, see, I'm kind of interested in talking about that. We'll answer our trivia question first. Okay, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Our first trivia question was, I was much overshadowed in the pitching rotation by Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale. In 9 seasons with the Dodgers, I won 149 games. The number 23 on my back, unfortunately, witnessed my leading the league in losses in 1968 with 18. Who am I?
I'm going to let Dr. Stedman take a stab at it.
Dr. Stone.
Oh, Dr. Stone.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Dr.
Dr.
Stone.
Stedman. Yeah. I think I know the answer, but I'm going to defer to him and see if he knows, and then if he doesn't, I'll give it a shot.
Dr. Stone, you know the answer to that one?
Well, I would tell you that anybody would be overshadowed by what was called the left hand of God.
Yeah. Sandy Koufax.
Bruce, I think he.
Okay. I'm going to say Claudio Steen.
Yes, very good.
Claudio Steen was a pretty good pitcher, and they, I believe, picked him up in a trade with the Washington Senators. And it was a big multi-player deal. 68, the Dodgers, you remember, they won the pennants in 63, 65, and 66, won the World Series 2 those years. But by 67, 68, they had fallen on tough times, and they were not a very good team for a few years.
Well, especially in 66, the Baltimore Orioles swept them.
Yeah, swept them and also shut them out 3 times.
Yeah.
How about that?
That's not good.
That was the first time I actually stayed home from school, made an excuse to told my parents I was sick and watched the World Series.
69 was, we got to watch it in school.
Oh, geez. I was listening on my radio with the transistor, and my physics teacher told me to turn that thing off. Pay attention to me. I said, the World Series is going on. I don't care if it's the World Cup. Turn it off.
Can't compare the World Cup to the World Series.
Yeah, come on.
All right, so we have on the phone Dr. Kevin Stone, who's an orthopedic surgeon. And Dr. Stone, I want to ask because I think this story just came out, that an orthopedist was fired from the New Orleans Saints for misdiagnosing a fracture. Apparently, he said it was just a sprain or something, and this one player just kept getting injured, and then finally, in fact, it wasn't him; there were 2 doctors.
Oh boy! And
when they finally went in a little further, they found out actually he had a fracture, and so they fired the orthopedic surgeons, 2 of them. So I'm wondering, what kind of pressure is on the doctors to, kind of make things not quite as serious because they want the player, like the higher ups tell them, hey, we want this guy back on the field. From your perspective, what kind of pressure gets put on the orthopedic surgeon for the athletes?
There are a lot of great team doctors who sacrificed a lot of their time and their life to be team doctors, and so I can only compliment them. I personally have chosen to always stay as a consultant for the athletes, wanting to be sure that there wasn't a conflict of interest, and I've enjoyed a lot of the pro players that I've cared for over many years now. But I must say, it's a conflicted position. Your employer is the team, yet as a physician, your patient is always your first responsibility. Those pressures create really sometimes the wrong decision or a delayed decision that you might otherwise do in another situation, or the desire to get the player back on the field, or most often it's the player who pushes you so hard to stop it. Really, I'm fine, get me back out there. Every one of those are pressures that cause sometimes a delayed diagnosis.
I mean, I would think it would be more the player who would put the pressure on, because as the employer, I don't want my player getting more hurt if he's not going to play as well, that's not going to be good for the team. Versus the player saying, I don't want to get fired from my job.
It used to be exactly the way you say. What's happened is with contract negotiations and the timing of when guys are coming up for free agency, sometimes in their own mind it's better for them to not be on the field than to be on the field, and for reasons that are always really hard to figure out between them and their agent and their team. So it's a tough situation.
I got to ask you about the concussion situation, because it seems as if they're trying to cut down on the number of collisions and design helmets that are better suited for the athletes. But isn't it? It's not actually the helmet that really protects the head as much as it's the when these guys are having their concussions. From what I understand, and tell me if I'm wrong, the sudden movement of the brain inside the cranium is so traumatic that it creates the concussion, and there's really not much you can do, I would think, to stop some of those collisions because of the stop-start nature of tackling.
As a former soccer player, I'm sorry I can't remember what you asked me.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good one. It's got to do stand-up soon.
Yeah.
There you go. Have you thought about auditioning at the Ha-Ha? What is the name of that place?
So it's really true.
Yeah.
All these sports, not just football, but
Yeah.
too, and heading, repetitive heading over many years, starting in youth sports. How much do these little micro traumas or these micro acceleration, decelerations of the brain and the fluid around them affect the brain over many years? And of course, your intuition is probably does. And the answer probably is that we don't really have a way to stop that.
I mean, I don't think of heading a soccer ball. I mean, it's not a bowling ball, and I mean, how hard is the soccer ball?
I think it's this, again, isn't it the stop-start of the brain, just, the brain sloshing around, and when it hits the ball, it makes kind of a sudden motion forward. Isn't that what causes the concussion, doctor?
Yes, that's correct. It's almost the goalie's hands and the goalie's head sometimes.
Yeah. It's interesting.
You and the soccer player hit.
It just seems, much as we all love football, the injuries today that we hear about, they seem to be more horrific than ever. Although, in the past, maybe the athletes, because they weren't getting the specific attention and the medication, the medicine that was being practiced wasn't as sophisticated, maybe they just didn't know any better and went back out there. But it seems like today's athletes, because they're bigger, faster, stronger, are not going to get aren't going to be protected anymore in football, are they? Because of some of the precautions. I mean, it's just the nature of the game.
That's true, but with the increasing evidence of the damage being done, you can't tell me that you and every one of us watching Tom Brady play don't hold our breath the minute that he gets hit hard or his head cracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all watching. We love the guys. We know in the back of our mind that probably not a good thing.
It was interesting. I was reading an article about Jim Plunkett the other day, who's a friend of mine because I've covered sports here in the Bay Area for many, many years. And Plunkett, I remember a couple of years ago talking to him, and he said he was not feeling too well. His joints were aching. He's had knee replacements, hip replacements, and he just said he's paying a terrible price. He said the only good thing is I don't seem to have any CTE symptoms, but I've got so many joints. That's the thing, people talk about the brain problems these guys have and how they degenerate in later years, but their bodies get just destroyed out there, especially the
Jim
joints.
Otto lost a leg because he had 14 knee surgeries.
Yeah, but I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, Doc, because I'm sure you've talked to a lot of pro football players or guys that play the game. They know that there's that inherent danger, and yet they're willing to put their bodies out there because they're young and vital, and they think, I'm living for today. Isn't that? Yeah, I'm invincible. Isn't that kind of the philosophy of a football player? You almost have to have that, don't you?
In part, but here's what's changed, because I saw a couple players this year who were smart enough to come to me and say, hey, look, I lost my meniscus cartilage. The doc took it out when I tore it, and I needed to play last year. I know that if I play this year without it, I'm going to develop arthritis. You just put one back in for me.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. How long has that been practiced now that they've been able to do that? It hasn't been that long, has it?
We published our 10 to 23-year outcome study on putting meniscus back in arthritic knees, demonstrated an 80% survival at 10 years.
Wow.
Improvement in pain and function. So we've been doing it for quite a while now, and it's got to the level that pro athletes are now pretty much aware that they just keep taking on tissue, they'll end up like the guys you mentioned. If they take a pause, put the tissue back in, you might be able to protect their knee for a lifetime.
And where do you get that tissue? Is it from a?
So it's cadaver. Usually we call the motorcycles donor cycles.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
Jeez.
Don't tell me that. I ride a motorcycle. And
Wow.
I got to think that procedure is a little different than a reverse circumcision. Did you hear about that too?
God. Oh my goodness. No comment.
No, I know. We're talking serious stuff here. Yeah, because God, just thinking about the fact of just putting something back in like that, it just
Oh, I
seems
would
so
think
odd.
I understand it, and it makes
It
sense, and
makes
it's a
sense,
great
yeah.
idea. I mean, and for the person who's dead, they're not needing it anymore. But it still seems kind of almost not gruesome is the word, but eerie that you're taking a part of a dead person's body and putting it in. But I guess, hey,
Oh, that
look,
happens all the time.
I know it happens all the time. I mean, look at they take.
We've been doing
Yeah.
it for heart valves,
Yeah.
grafts, for
Yeah.
bone, for partial bone replacements. It really is only finally dawning on athletes of all ages.
Mm.
They lose tissue, put it back in right away. Don't play without your ACL, without your meniscus, without your articular cartilage. These tissues can be repaired, regenerated, and replaced.
Can you do that with discs?
You know, I spent some time in disc research, but not in surgery. The disc replacement procedures are still mostly artificial and not biologic yet. There is a lot of work going on in terms of disc injections with growth factors and stem cells, but the data is still pretty young.
Go ahead.
I was
I'm
just
sorry.
going to ask, the artificial ones, though, did they work pretty well?
Do they work well for older folks who are sort of don't have a great choice? Because fusion, as we all know, spine fusion does not work well.
Mm.
It works in the short moment, but you develop arthritis above.
That's my mom had that. Yeah.
I'm curious, sports medicine has become so sophisticated. And I remember as a kid back in the 1960s, doctors didn't really practice the kind of obviously sophisticated sports medicine they do today. When was there a breakthrough with all of this, all these changes? Was there a specific period, or has it been a gradual sort of a thing over a period of time?
I tell you what, Doctor, if you can hold on for 2 seconds on that, answer that when we come back, and then we'll let you go. We're going to cut to a quick commercial break, okay?
And another trivia question.
And then one more trivia question here. Okay, in the 2002 NCLS, the Cardinals beat the Giants to get into the World Series.
2002, they didn't. The Giants won. That went to the World Series. Giants beat the Cardinals 4-1. I was there. I covered
Yeah,
it.
that's wait a minute. What?
You said the Cardinals beat the
Yeah,
Giants.
I did. I don't know why this rascal. Okay, well, here's the main question.
Okay.
However, a Giant was named Series MVP. Basically,
Oh, no, you're talking about 1987. The Cardinals beat the Giants.
Yeah, I don't know why
Okay.
I said 2002.
Yeah, that's okay. They played each other twice. Actually,
Yeah.
they played each other 4 times.
Yeah, that's right. Because 80.
Oh, I know that one too because I was there.
Yeah, because 2002 was
Was it?
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Okay, so 1987. Sorry about that. Cardinals
okay.
beat the Giants, get into the World Series. However, a Giant was named Series MVP.
Yes.
You know which one?
Oh,
that
of
was?
course.
Okay, there we
Know
go.
the man well.
All right. Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101 will be right back. I'm not sure how I got 2002.
Just wishful thinking that the Giants had won. Now, it's interesting. The Giants have played them 4 times and beaten them 3. The last 3.
Yeah.
And what was it?
Oh, that was exciting.
2010? Oh no, 2012 and 2014.
Yeah, a couple of those very, very exciting. Thanks again for staying with us for just a little bit longer. Then
We'll get
let
you out of
go.
here. I know you're a busy guy. So your offices, did you say, are in the marina?
We're in here looking out where the America's Cup was sailing right by our window here.
Oh,
Sweet.
very nice.
No, we wish it was still doing that.
Is it foggy today over the city?
I know it's actually kind of gray but clear.
Oh, nice, nice.
Didn't we have a question one time that America's Cup is like the oldest?
I think it is the oldest
It's the
sport in
oldest
America.
American sport, yeah.
Even older than horse racing.
Yeah, because horse racing in 1868.
Wasn't that organized? Yeah. Okay.
I guess we didn't come over the ocean on horses.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's
I like the
the
kind
reason.
of practical.
I like this guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right.
All right. Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Not last time, but I'm still Edward Brown, and you're still Bruce McGowan.
Still in.
Okay. In one of
least
these,
last time I looked.
in one of these NCLSs,
1987.
1987, the Cardinals beat the Giants to get into the World Series.
4-3.
Okay. However, a Giant was named Series MVP. Who was it?
Let's see if the doc knows but first. He may not know this one, but I'm going to give him a shot at it.
Well, I don't know it, but I do remember some trivia fact that it actually occurred 2 years in a row where the losing team had the MVP, but it has never occurred again.
Yeah, it was actually Jeffrey the Hackman Leonard, and he hit 4 home runs in the first 4 games of that series. And Hackman was known as Hackman because he used to take these incredibly wild swings, but he also was known as Penitentiary Face because he always looked. You'd walk into the locker room or the clubhouse and ask him to do an interview, and he'd say, "Who are you?" What do you want? But it was all up front. He was a sweetheart. Yeah.
One flap down, right?
Yeah, one flap
Okay,
down.
actually, this must be a different year.
Okay.
1987.
1987.
Okay, then give me another year.
I don't know.
This is the one where Benito Santiago was the.
Oh, well,
MVP.
that was 2002.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
You
but you said the Cardinals won in 2002.
Oh.
Yeah, see, that's
Okay,
what
so I
confused me.
had
But
the right
that was,
year, but I'm wrong.
see, that was what confused me. You said from the losing team.
Yeah, I did.
And Benito was from the winning team. So you really got us confused.
I'm sorry.
All right. Anyway, this happens all the time. We always get confused over here, Doc.
Are you kidding?
Can you help us out, man?
Yeah.
Do you have any wonder drugs? I
need a brain transplant.
I think we both got too many hits here.
With the microphone.
Yeah.
So, this is Dr. Kevin Stone, MD,
Yes.
is on the phone. We're going to finish up with him because he's got to go back into surgery.
Well, I'd ask the question: was there a period? I believe the question I asked was there a period, specific period where orthopedic surgery and some of these tissue replacement procedures became extremely not maybe the word isn't popular but commonplace, or has it been over a long period of time, Doc, that we've seen the sophistication, the improved, the improvements in orthopedic surgery for athletes?
Yeah, so we started our collagen meniscus replacement for regrowing the meniscus in the mid-80s.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the mid-90s, this started to take off both with articular cartilage and meniscus. And then also in the mid-90s, using donor allograft tissue for ACLs started to become popular as well.
Interesting.
Now, by the 21st century, we've taught surgeons around the world how to do these procedures, and I would say that the allograft, the donor tissue portion of ACLs, is now about 25% of ACLs in the U.S.
Wow.
And the meniscus replacement part of it, unfortunately, is still tiny. There's about 1.4 million knee arthroscopies in the U.S. each year. 800,000 of them where the surgeons take out part of the meniscus. There's only about 2,000 where the surgeons put the meniscus back in.
And I guess that's because those are of the 2,000. Those are probably athletes who need to get back on the field, or college athletes.
For a lot of people who are in their mid-40s and 50s and still want to play sports,
Sure.
They develop some arthritis. Their doc has told them they're heading towards a knee replacement, and they said, "Hey, doc, isn't there just a shock absorber back in my knee and let me keep playing?"
Oh, wow.
I like
Well,
that.
you may not know this, but Bruce, how old are you now?
I am 65.
65, and he goes surfing almost everyone's body surfing.
Body surfing, actually, which is great for the body.
Yeah.
It actually is. I mean, I get out of the water, Doc, when I've been there for an hour and a half, and I've caught maybe a couple dozen waves, and I just feel rejuvenated. I think it's partly mental, but physically, I feel great when I get out. I just feel relaxed. And isn't it true that swimming is probably, of all the exercises that you can do, maybe the best for your body because it doesn't put much stress on any one part of the body. It exercises everything.
Yeah, it's really true. And so we have a lot of our runners who might have a knee injury at a time do pool running in order to keep their running fitness up but not have pressure on their joints. So it's a great way to train. Even if you're not a swimmer, you can go to any swimming pool and walk laps side to side in chest water. Try walking 20 laps and every day walk faster. And it's a
Great idea.
Workout to protect your joints.
Yeah.
I think I'll do it in the hot tub. I don't have to go as far.
You're like the goldfish. You're going to go round and round.
Yeah. There you go.
I will. Well, Dr. Kevin Stone, thank you so much for joining us on Sports Econ 101. It was a pleasure having you.
Our pleasure. Anytime.
All right.
All right. Enjoyed that. Some
That's good.
really interesting information, and we learned something. I think that's great. As we said, and the doc was pointing out that, today's athletes, I think, are so fortunate in that, 30, 40 years ago, athletes didn't have that many options. You tear your knee up, you just have to deal with the consequences and go back out there. And you see these guys, that are my age or older now, limping around and giving. Jim Plunkett's not much older than me, and the poor guy walks around like he's 90 years old. So maybe 30. If he was born 30 years later, he'd be beat up, but he wouldn't be quite so beat up.
Sure.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask him the question, like, where does he see the future of?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, God, the sophistication in medicine today that's being practiced it just blows you away. But it's part of the future, and
Well, I wonder if it's going to be similar to like what they've been saying about just technology in general. That it's like we're at such a logarithmic path that the next 5 years is going to culminate everything we've learned in the last 500 years.
No, just take cancer, for instance. Think of the types of cancer that couldn't be cured, and now just about every type of cancer, there's a great chance for a person who has it to live a lot longer. given the treatment. So medication or medicine is you think about how primitive things were back in the 19th century or even the early 20th century.
Well, I was just thinking, William Henry Harrison. He served in office 1 month.
That's right.
Do you know the story?
Yeah, he gave the longest inaugural address. This is the 9th president of the United States, and it was raining, and he caught pneumonia, and he died.
Yeah.
He was a military hero. That's how he got his position. But replaced by John Tyler. Interesting. Again, not to get off on a tangent.
That's okay. Go ahead.
John Tyler, the 10th president, had 2 wives, and each wife
at the same time.
No. First wife he had 7 or 8 kids with his first wife, 6 with his second wife, and his second wife was 30 years younger. And the way he met his second wife, he was widowed at the time. He was on board a battleship, and they were doing a demonstration with these cannons. And the captain of the battleship, the cannon exploded, killed the captain, and killed a bunch of sailors on the ship. And the father of this woman that he ended up marrying was the captain, and so he picked up the prostrate daughter, who was like stunned and obviously upset, carried her into away from the carnage, and comforted her, and she fell in love with him, and the rest is history.
How'd you know all that?
And also, John Tyler is the only president to have actually been a part of a foreign government that fought the United States, and I'm talking about, of course, a foreign government, the Confederacy. He joined the Confederacy. Interesting little stuff. Oh, when I was a kid, I was a presidential history nut.
Really?
I don't know why I was, but I think it was because John F. Kennedy was one of my first heroes, so I wanted to know everything about every president, and I have this mind for trivia, and so I studied it.
And it's funny because John Tyler is probably one of those presidents everyone forgets.
Oh yeah, well there are a lot of forgettable presidents. Does anybody remember Benjamin Harrison
or Martin Van Buren
or James Garfield, the second president to be assassinated? Yeah, Martin Van Buren. What do they call him? Old Kinderhook. That's where he was from. Kinderhook, New York. Yeah. And I think his nickname also was Old Whiskers because
because he had the big that I could
whiskers.
understand.
Yeah. Strange looking dude.
And who was the fattest president?
I believe that was William Howard
Yes,
Taft.
it was.
Yeah.
He tipped the scales at 300-something pounds.
They had to make a special bathtub for him because he couldn't fit into the normal size bathtub. If he got in there, he'd wedge himself in and he wouldn't be able to get him out.
Go on a diet there, sport.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on here. Ezekiel Elliott, accused of the domestic violence.
Beating his girlfriend.
Beating his girlfriend, okay.
Or was it his wife?
I think it was girlfriend.
Yeah, because he's a pretty young guy.
So, question that comes up, apparently, and she's admitted this, on her phone, there's text messages between her and a friend where the friend suggests that she blackmail.
Well, she probably was thinking, hey, I won't press charges against you if you pay me a certain amount of money. That happens, unfortunately. That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I hate to say it, and I don't want to generalize here, but a lot of these athletes go after women that are, fortune hunters. And they're looking for a quick buck, and they'll go out with a guy because he's glamorous and good looking, and they can get something from him. And the guys are going out with the gals because they're glamorous and good looking, and they're easy on the eyes. So I mean, it's a two-way street. I'm not saying that any. Don't get me wrong. I'm not condoning him slapping her around. That's.
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know
the circumstances.
We don't know the circumstances. It's interesting. Tremaine Brock, who was cut by the 49ers defensive back. He had some problems with women. He beat up his girlfriend, apparently, but she refused to file charges, and the 49ers cut him anyway, and he was picked up by Seattle. But, there's a lot of it. It's hard. That's a tough crime to prosecute.
Did they get rid of him because of the domestic violence?
Yes, they did.
Really?
And it was before the charges were dropped, but I think that they knew that the woman just didn't want to go through the public humiliation.
So I wonder, I guess they kind of pick and choose, which crimes are ones that they don't want to be associated with.
Well, and also, I think the 49ers, with a new coach and a new general manager, want to get off to a fresh start, a positive, attitude among the community. And you think about it, the 49ers in the last 7 or 8 years have really had a lot. They always talk about the Raiders having rogue players. The Raiders don't have any rogue players. The Niners are the team. Yeah, Ray McDonald, who was kicked out of the league, for doing all sorts of things, and several other guys. I mean, look at the poor guy. Who's the linebacker who's now playing with the Raiders? Smith. Can't remember his first name. Yeah. I mean, he's had all sorts of problems. So it's just. And unfortunately, it's the nature of football. It's a violent sport, and there's sometimes guys in there that they can't contain their rage for whatever reason, and it carries over into everyday life. You see a lot more of it in boxing and in football because it's just the violent nature of the sports.
Well, especially if you're a defensive end and you're so close to getting a sack, and Brady goes ahead and throws a pass, and you just miss him. It's like
frustrating.
Whoa, yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I remember hearing, this famous Hall of Famer back in the day talking about how he would build himself up into and work himself into a rage so that, and he looked at the camera. This guy was in his 60s when he did this interview, and he goes, and I'd just be so mad. And his eyes were blazing and his teeth was clenching. And I just want to get to that guy and just knock him down. And that's I remember coaches used to have these pregame sessions where they'd get the players all worked up, because you're going into battle. You mean physically, you really are going into battle.
Well, yeah, you don't want to be playing classical music just before you win.
Oh, we have to be gentle and understanding of our opponents. No, you don't. You want to just, hey, how many football players do you know that I want to destroy that man psychologically and physically?
Yeah,
I mean, John Matuzak once told me, he said the whole purpose of going out on the football field is to dominate the opponent and knock him down and humiliate him. And he was saying this with his look in his eye.
Yeah, that guy was, he was 6'8", 325 pounds or something.
He was scary.
He was a scary guy. I mean, just physically intimidating. Some of these guys are, like Ray Lewis, Hall of Famer.
Right.
But I think I'd be more scared of Matuzak.
Yeah, Matuzak was a little on the unhinged side. I remember during the Super Bowl in 1980 in New Orleans, he says, I'm going to be a policeman. I'm going to make sure the guys don't go out and party. And then he was out at 2, 3 in the morning partying, and I said, well, wait a second, you're out there partying. He goes, I'm making sure nobody else is partying. Yeah.
He did have a good sense of humor.
He did. He was a very bright guy, too.
Yeah.
Died young, though. He was only 38.
Steroids?
He had some kind of a weird brain tumor or something. I can't remember.
I met him once at a charity event. Very nice guy.
Yeah.
He said, hey, folks, how you doing? And, he's just a mountain of a man.
Yeah, big friendly giant, but not on the football field. He didn't want to run into him. Yeah.
I wonder if how many guys were scared to play against him.
I don't think athletes can function that way, especially in football. You just can't, even if your opponent is much bigger than you.
I mean, you're not going to. I mean, yeah, you get hurt, but it's not like boxing where you're going to get knocked out per se.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys will throw you around a little bit. Yeah, and that's what you have pads for.
Sure.
Okay. Third trivia question: who was the first American League player to win 16 Gold Glove awards?
Wow, that's a good question.
That's a lot of gloves.
Yeah.
So he had to play at least 15 seasons.
Okay.
Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We're going to come right back with some closing comments. Good.
All right.
And then we'd be done.
Molly,
you're doing excellent.
Yeah, she's just still in her jammies, as you can see.
Oh, yeah.
She did not want to wake up this morning. I said, Molly, we got to get going. Edward Brown's show. Okay. Got to pick up our computers today at school. The kids don't do homework on paper anymore. They do it on computers. And they have
I get my own computer.
She gets her own
and
computer.
I have my own.
It's like a little computer.
So you started school already?
Next week.
Next week.
Yeah, next week.
Next Tuesday, is it?
No, I have 2 computers.
Monday. Oh, Monday. That's right. The day of the eclipse.
My dad didn't know that I had a computer, and he was like, "Wait, you have a computer?" He didn't know that he had.
What grade are you going into?
7.
Wow. Do you go to school that has 6, 7, and 8? Oh,
middle
okay, so
school,
you're
yeah.
already.
Yeah.
So you've already done that.
She was at 6C last week.
We have a charter school moving into our 6th grade building, so
You're gonna have more kids, right, this year?
So there's going to be a whole elementary school and a 6th grade and a 7th grade.
Oh, you're going to feel like the big kid on campus, especially when you get to 8th grade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's funny because when you're a freshman in high school, you'll have a perspective, and then when you get to be a senior, you're going to go, these freshmen, they're so cute and little.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Here we go.
Close this bad boy out here. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Here was our last trivia question. Who was the first American League player to win 16 Gold Gloves? I'm not even sure if anyone's won it since.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking it's one of the Baltimore Orioles, either Cal Ripken Jr. or Brooks Robinson, and I'll say Brooks Robinson.
Yes, that is correct.
Brooks Robinson put on a clinic in the 1970 World Series against the Reds. He just
human vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, he made 3 or 4 plays that were just amazing.
I got to say, though, you only got 2 out of 3 right.
What was the one I missed? Oh, that's the one that you screwed up the question, though. I would have gotten that.
That's no excuse.
Yeah, I would have gotten that if you got the question right.
I mean,
You said that who was an MVP for a team that lost, and it wasn't Benito Santiago because his team won. It was Jeffrey Leonard.
oh, come on. That's just a matter of semantics.
Okay. we'll let it slide this time, Edward. We'll let it slide. Because you're such a good guy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I got to stump you. The only way I can stump you is to fake the question.
Confused
Like
me.
fake news, right?
Yeah,
Fake the question.
fake news, fake news. What did that? Who started that? Was it Trump that started that, or was it just somebody? Trump picked it up. The fake news expression.
Well, I know he said he's
I
like
think
known
he
for
po-
saying it now, but
He popularized it, though,
yeah.
right? What is? Well, no, fake news to me means like news that you get off Facebook, right? That's basically fake news.
You know, fake meaning anything that's false.
Well, there's a lot of. If you go to the web, there's a lot of these websites that are just bogus, and they'll throw stuff
yeah.
out, and then they like people to post it on their Facebook page.
Like what Melky Cabrera did.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of people that get their news off of Facebook. Believe it or not.
Oh,
It's sad.
That's sad. Okay,
Yeah.
here's our thoughts for the day. Rich Donnelly, previously of the Boston Red Sox, once when describing the worst team he had ever managed, he says, "I managed a team that was so bad we considered a 2-0 count a rally."
I like that.
John McKay, 1976 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, first year in the league as expansion team, 0-14 record. He was asked what he thought of his team's execution. He says, "I'm in favor of it."
Yeah, I remember that. That's a classic.
That's
John
great.
McKay, great USC coach, by the way. Won 3 or 4 national titles, but when he went to Tampa, what a come down.
What if he would have thought, gee, my college team could have beaten this team?
Oh, they probably could. Well, yeah,
Maybe.
who's to say?
Okay, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more sports trivia questions, which hopefully we'll get the right questions this time. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long.
Oh, I wanted to tell you, we had a great time at that little resort up at top.
Oh, was that nice? You
Yeah,
like that?
Molly really liked it.
Good.
My friend liked it too.
Yeah.
She was like, "This is the nicest place."